Colton Flint, storm chaser, got this thunderstorm coming into central Massachusetts yesterday. It's the same system that roared across Iowa and Illinois 2 days ago, held together, and the damage from yesterday's storm is, again, disastrous and heartbreaking. Above and beyond the call of the forecast, really, what happened yesterday in New York and Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Let's start with the good news. The satellite imagery shows a real clear blue sky, like this one, across where the air was cleaned out by these storms. Southern New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and it did knock the humidity down a little bit. So this morning is a little more comfortable in the heat and humidity department in a few spots. Look at the temperature dew point map. A temperature of 75 with a dew point of 66 in Worcester, Massachusetts. I'd say that's more comfortable than a temperature of 77 and a dew point of 70 in Millinocket, Maine. So it's a little more comfortable in Worcester, Massachusetts, hill country, than it is in the hill country or mountain country of Maine this morning. But it has a lot to do with what happened in the last 24 hours. The thunderstorm went right across Worcester. So many scenes of damage. I'd say the most devastating in Rome, New York. Scott got this video, and yesterday afternoon, Tyler Jankowski even tweeted out at about 3:30 that tornado on the ground confirmed in Rome, New York. Yet, if you look at the storm reports this morning, it's not in there. So the National Weather Service probably has to go and check it out and say, yes, indeed, that was a tornado in Rome, New York, about 3:30. And that storm kept on barreling along the New York Turnpike, north of the Massachusetts Turnpike. It's all I-90. And this is what H.V. Barry said in Cheshire, Massachusetts. The house just shook, the loudest lightning strike I've ever heard. Frightening, sounded like everything just exploded. And sure enough, the damage of that storm just up the hill in Williamstown, Massachusetts, devastated, trees down. A tree can be knocked down by winds of over 55 miles per hour, but the wind was stronger than that. This system that started in Iowa 2 days ago and exited Maine this morning, or is still exiting, was more like a Category 1 hurricane. Andrew LeConto, meteorologist for the National Weather Service in Boston, showed this radar profile of the storm coming out of Cheshire, and he measured radar winds of 83 plus miles per hour, 53 dBz, just an incredible potent, mostly straight line thunderstorm winds. But what's the difference whether it's rotating like a tornado or straight line? So yeah, I think this exceeded all expectations yesterday. Just 1 week after the Vermont floods, here's another disaster that we have to clean up after. And there's going to be more storms today. A few more highlights. Mitch in Reedsboro, Vermont, said he was happy to have the rain, torrential rain and thunder. It doesn't look like he had any damage, but it relieved the heat there in Reedsboro, Vermont. And it looks like the most rainfall from this system was right there up down the hill a little bit from Mitch in Westminster, Vermont. More than 1.7 inches of rain. So not that many reports of flash flooding. So yesterday the damage was all wind-induced damage. And now the surface map this morning shows that's about 1,007 remnant of the Mesoscale Convective System on the coast of Maine. It's all decaying now. And there's not another one upstream already holding together. New storms are going to form along the front. So what happened over the last several days is that energy, that's those two mesoscale convective systems, formed well ahead and south of the actual front. We often call them a prefrontal trough. They don't usually do this kind of damage. So this morning we have that prefrontal trough on the coast of Maine, and the real front is still back across southern Ontario. And the temperature in dew point north of Lake Superior this morning, the temperature's in the lower 50s with a dew point in the 40s. Hoping for that air to come in here, but it's really going to struggle to cool off around New England. We're going to have another round of showers and storms today. Here's the HRRR, high resolution rapid refresh. And you can see the little bit of energy that's over Connecticut. It's going to expand a bit. So we have scattered showers and thunderstorms, almost looking like it's trying to form a line between 2 and 3 o'clock from western Maine, central New Hampshire, down into Massachusetts. And then it looks like a squall line with severe thunderstorms likely again today. Damaging wind is the most likely outcome from these as it goes and decays over Boston, hopefully decaying around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. And then look at that, another storm just south of New England may clip you on Nantucket. Martin, Bruce, that'll be close tomorrow morning about 6 a.m. and then that goes away, and now we're starting to get into the cooler and drier air, but it's only going to happen slowly. I think tomorrow, well, today we're another day in the 90s. It's much less windy now, so that system that went by yesterday had a lot of wind with it, but it's much less windy today, but it is going to come in from the southwest a little bit this afternoon. Probably more like 10 to 20 instead of 20 to 30 like it was yesterday. And we get some alto cumulus up there. It looks so nice right now, doesn't it? Yeah, that actually doesn't feel too bad. The Boston 5-day meteogram shows the temperature and dew point, temperature in the 90s and dew point in the 70s today. And actually the dew point tries to come down a little bit, doesn't it, into the 60s and goes back up tonight. Showers and thunderstorms tonight, very sticky. And then tomorrow, the temperature's in the 80s, the dew point falls through the 60s. But note the temperature here, back up to near 90 by Sunday. That's about 10 degrees warmer than what the GFS has. So I think that's a little overdone with close to 90 on Sunday. But it's going to be still warm to hot over the weekend, but much less humid. So it looks like a really nice weekend. Let's go to the Euro. Put the next 10 days in motion here with the surface charts, and we get the low pressure to our north today, not as strong as it was supposed to be. I think that's because of, from 5 days ago, it was in the 990s, remember? That's because this Mesoscale Convective System kind of robbed the energy. But anyhow, there go our showers and thunderstorms away, and then tomorrow near the south coast, and then Friday, high pressure is building over the Great Lakes. Looks like another weak cold front tries to come in with just a scattered shower or thunderstorm in mostly the high country of New England. And then over the weekend, we have the energy, tropical energy to our south. When I say tropical, I mean like the very humid and sticky weather, and high pressure over the Great Lakes with much less humidity coming at New England. Looks like another front trying to come down out of southeastern Canada on Sunday. We've been talking about that for several days. Was that going to be a warm front coming at us on Sunday or a cold front? And it's a backdoor cold front looking like in Boston, another low to our north with that old, I talked about it 3 days ago, 534 to 540 cutoff low pressure system in Quebec. That's nice cool air. But that's not really going to press south, and it does not look like bombogenesis anymore up there. And now it looks like a strong storm in eastern Quebec going to Labrador, and that should keep us comfortable into next week. And then at the end of the period, here comes some more energy from the south, and by Tuesday and Wednesday, we have a front from the north and a front from the south with more showers and thunderstorms, probably sticky, but maybe not near 90 degrees. And then a very cold front at the end of the period out there in about 10 days. Some real cold air in Canada, but I don't think that's going to make it in here. Today is July 17th. Today is the peak day for climatological heat in New England. Sure enough, yesterday in Plymouth, we got to 95 degrees with a west wind. Record high temperature yesterday in Plymouth, Massachusetts on Cape Cod. We were well into the 80s. My brother working outdoors says, though, it does not get much more hot and humid than this on Cape Cod working yesterday. And there was a breeze yesterday. Today, not much of a breeze, but we may have more in the way of clouds. So yesterday, I did mow the lawn, and I did survive in Weymouth, and we did go out on the water. I didn't get a video of us out on the water, but I made a little time lapse of the sailboats, the kids learning to sail, doing a good job yesterday in that breeze. And then came to Cape Cod, and I was hoping to get a sunset time lapse in Brewster at Ocean Edge, where it's a beautiful sunset usually, but even with a temperature near 80, we had fog cloud, and it wasn't really touching the ground, stratocumulus. How does that happen when the dew point, the temperature is near 80? The dew point has to be near 80 to get fog and that kind of cloud and that kind of day. So yeah, exceeding Florida type weather on Cape Cod. So here's the and more from yesterday. Talk to you tomorrow. 11 a.m. Tuesday, July 16th. I'm not watching for storms coming in right now. I'm watching the young sailors from West Augusta Summer Sailing School hear the coaches yelling, the kids yelling, looking like fun. West wind about 10 to 15. Nice day for sailing. Keeps you much cooler. And let's make a little time lapse of this. Are you part of that crew? You get a different looking sailboat. And then Danny and I are gonna go stand up paddling. There will be thunderstorms today, but probably not near Boston until overnight. Where should I focus for this time lapse? How about right in here? All right, time lapse of the sailors this morning. Oops. Did you hear Rex just run, bark, and run out? 11:30, sailing, looks like it's wrapping up. 88 degrees. The dew point, only 66 in Boston, yay. And T-Rex assuming the position in the sun. He just loves the sun, but only for a short time. All right, we're gonna go out and play on the water a little bit this afternoon. We got some sailing going off Coincides Yacht Club also this morning. And there's Winthrop. Hey, Dennis. 2 o'clock on Tuesday, 16th. Just mowed the back 9 in the midday heat. About 91 degrees. Nice breeze, tiny bit less humid than yesterday. And there are no thunderstorms in New England. They're all in New York. Another second day in a row. Mesoscale Convective System. About 300 miles in that direction. Warranting severe weather warnings, tornado warnings, flash flood warnings. And we've got a pretty bright day. Tuesdays have been nice. And if you like low 90s with dew points in the 60s to low 70s, it's gorgeous. We did go paddling. Good to say hello to Leif and Pia. I think we might be headed south now. I'm not quite sure. 5-5. Happy birthday, Stuart Copeland of the police. We are headed south. Yes, all my lights are on. 97 degrees on the dashboard thermometer, and that's what the household thermometer said also. Why not head south? I think it's cooler. Although 95 in Plymouth today. Only 84 here in Yarmouth. Stratocumulus up there. It's toward Harwich. Status, T-Rex and TK are, yeah, entering Dennis. Over to Bass River. Get some fog clouds up there. To have a fog cloud with a temperature of 84 means the dew point is way up there. Ever been here? The mansion at Ocean Edge. It's a must-do on Cape Cod for sunset. In summertime. They got golf. They got everything. Look at those fields. The fog and the sunset. There's no guard in the shack, too. You just keep driving. Well, there is a guard in the shack. Sorry. Anyhow, this was a mansion. I can't remember who owned it. La Salette. And then it was a monastery. So it's been a lot of different things. And now it's where we're watching sunset. I've not been here in about a year, but last time I was here there was a near full moon, and there is tonight also, but it's behind that fog cloud, that stratocumulus. Oh well, hopefully we'll be in time to see the sun go down. So there's Cape Cod Bay. There's a beach bar down there, but I don't think the public's invited. So I'm just gonna do a little time lapse on top of this tower right here. The old La Salette Museum. Sunset time lapse. How do we have fog with a temperature near 80 degrees? Because the dew point is near 80 degrees. I don't think we're gonna see the sun again, but I'm gonna let this roll. There's the buck moon. All right, now back to the time lapse. Brewster, Massachusetts. Somewhat disappointing, and it has to do with those severe thunderstorms that formed in Iowa yesterday. Second day in a row they came across, and they're crossing into New Hampshire now, and that's the top of them over there. And then, but I do have the moon, though. There's the buck moon, so thanks for watching. Talk to you tomorrow.